Hello, I'm Marcus V. Calvin, and welcome to Tales Unlimited. The disturbing thought of the day involves a stuntman. You're a stuntman. You're a martial artist, studied since you were a kid. You have your black belts, a couple of forms. You wouldn't say you never tell anyone you've mastered, any one style. Just your trade, and you become a stuntman. You're pretty good at it. Folks are looking at you going, you want to maybe try your hand at acting, give you some lines, and they give you some lines, and you're actually you're doing them right. And agents are looking at you, and then all of a sudden, someone screws up a stunt, and you have an accident, and your right leg is useless. You're lucky to keep it; it was so bad, and you're walking with a cane, and you also have some spinal injuries, constant pain, pills, booze. Your first wife leaves you, right? And boom, you're in a downward spiral. You can't work. No one's you're behind on your bills. You're in a bar drinking away your problems. About a year later, and this old guy walks in, and he sits next to you, and he looks at you after having a few drinks. He's like, "Hey, aren't you so and so? Aren't you a stuntman in such and such movie?" He's, "Yes, yes." And you tell him your sob story, like you tell anybody else who listens to you. And he starts buying you drinks. He's like, "How would you like to learn a new fighting style? What's it called? It has no name. To name is to know, and to know is to control. So, how would you like to learn it?" My right leg is about useless, and my back is even less so. I'm surprised I can like move around without a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we'll take it slow, but on me. What the heck? I mean, what else do you have to do right now? Aside from drinking, nothing. So what the heck? And so he talks you into coming with him and puts you in his car, drives you to this abandoned building, like a warehouse, and it's got like practice dummies all set up, almost like something you would shoot at, but not quite. And he's like, "Okay, make yourself comfortable." He puts you in a like an old beat up couch, and he's like, "This is where I train, really." And okay, show me what you got, old man. And he moves like a kid in his 20s, like you used to, but better, faster. And when he hits, it seems like a light punch, but when he hits, I mean, he is smashing bricks, kicking stuff, and it seems too good to be real. And you're like, "Oh, come on, man, what is this? Some sort of gag? I mean, where are the wires? Where you have this stuff rigged to blow?" Or something? Like, no, no, pick a wall, any wall, and you're like, you get up, you limp over, you tap a section of brick, seems solid to you. Okay, puts his hand right through it. Not even a bruise, just not even any concentration on this. Harnessing his chi. No, he just goes. Would you like to learn this? Hell yeah. Teach me. All right. Okay, this is going to be a little weird though, because first we have to take care of your injury. Drink this. What's that? It'll something to help you with your pain. Trust me. Oh well, I'll take drugs, man. What's saying than that? Okay. But after that, as long as I don't wake up in a tub full of ice. No, that's not. Whatever. No. Okay. One last thing. What's that? If you do this, you're my student, which means you must keep the secret of this style. You can't tell anybody where you learned it, how you learned it, and you can never train anybody, not even one move. Do you understand? Understand? Sure. Deal. Takes a swig. And it's like, okay, sit on the couch. You're going to feel a little sleepy. I like high. And you black out. And what he does is he leans in close and he whispers into your ear for an hour. When you wake up, it's weird. It's like every martial art technique you've ever learned, you see its flaws, its weaknesses, its limitations. It's like chess. You can't stop thinking about fighting. Martial arts is like, here, go home and come here tomorrow, and we'll begin your proper training. Okay. Thanks, old man. And gives you a lift home, or gives you a lift to your car. And the funny thing is, when you get to your car, you're sober. When you get home, you're feeling not bad. You actually don't need the cane. First time since the accident. And by morning, you feel like a kid again. I mean, you don't look it. Your face is still weathered from all the hard drinking you've been doing for the last year. But You actually walk in going, oh man, what did you give me and where can I find more? You won't need more, he tells you. All you needed was that little bit. Now, let's begin. Points to those targets. He's like, he gives you he rattles off a technique in some language you've never heard of. And you're fluent in a couple of Asian languages because you have to travel unfamiliar and all completely whatever he just says. Like, but when he says it, a light goes on, you recognize the technique, and you do it. You're leaping around, smashing stuff. You run up a wall. You put your hand through a brick wall. You're like, what? It's almost like you're on autopilot, and he's just talking you through them all day going, excellent. And you start making up your own stuff on the fly, and you're doing old like maneuvers you were doing in movies and stuff like that. And it's like, I can't believe this is amazing. How do you do this? I mean, I hit harder, but I'm not any stronger, but I can punch through walls. I can twist things like with like tons of force. How? He's like, I'll never tell you. I'm just like, actually he goes, I just told you while you were unconscious, but I'll never tell you again. Good luck with your life, and remember, keep the secret. And he walks off, and you never see him again. And you get back into the game. You become arguably the top tier stuntman in the game. People come up to you and go, oh, yes, we were very interested in you. Your recovery is especially interesting. But how'd you do it? It's like, oh, holistic medicine. But I got lucky and met a few people, and they sorted me out. But I got my game back. Oh, cool. Would you like to do some stunts? You do some stunts. Things work out. You actually become an action star. Fast forward 10 years, you're married to this hot young model, and you have a kid on the way, and life is going groovy. And then you get a message, basically tells you your master is dead, gives you a time and place for a funeral, and you go and you show your respects. And there's like a room full of people, and you meet other students of his, and like, wow, man, well, oof. And apparently he trained people, and you all look at each other with knowing winks, like you all want to talk about, how you met him, but you can't. You're too afraid to, because he always warns you, like, never, ever, ever talk the secret. But you like looking at some of the best action stars, and like some of you are like fighters, and some of you are in military uniforms, and some of you are dressed almost like have that look of grizzled killers. Because every so often you run into real deal types, like criminals or feds who are like, or ex-feds who trained for stunts, stuff like that. You run into people who are like hardened, grizzled, in the game types, and you have a nagging suspicion they're all students. And you're leaving the funeral home to like go home to your family and your life, and you're kind of sad. You sit there in your car going, who was this guy? And then you die, just like that. Because what the old guy whispered into your ear was also, oh, one last thing. Since you drank this, you kind of signed the dotted line. When I die, I'm going to basically take the body of one of my students. Any one student I want, probably the one who's making the most money. And in this case, it just happened to be you. So he goes home with your memories, your experience, your body, your money, your career, your hot wife, and your kid on the way. Happens. Okay, I'm Marcus V. Calvert. This is Tales Unlimited. Please check out talesunlimited.net. That's where the podcast and the book links are. What are the podcasts? The Battery Daily Prompt, Disturbing Thought of the Day. Both of those are dailies. What are the book links? Well, there's a link to the Battery series, 200 writing prompts, a little wisdom on how to write the first novel for anyone who's ever tried to write a novel without a system. Well, the Battery system will get you there. It's challenging, but if you do it, if you go all the way through, you'll be able to write books, sell them, build your brand, build your business, build your fan base, and at the same time, do all of this while you're working on your first novel. On top of that, there's story fuel in these 200 writing prompts, which are unusual, by the way. They're good for evil GMs looking for fun on a Saturday night, short story writers, game designers, comic book writers, screenwriters, and of course, novelists. Have a look. And there are anthology series here, 2 of them, Unheroic, Book of Schemes. What are they about? Well, Unheroic's about unlikely heroes saving the day, like what if a mercenary from Jersey has been hired to hunt down a vampire. And his reasons aren't just about money. They're rather dark. And he is not a good guy. He is a very unlikely hero, but if he doesn't stop his vampire, people are going to die on the streets. And then there's the Book of Schemes, all types of schemes, diabolical, twisted, funny, warped. There's a story I wrote called Ghost Pimp. That's all I'm going to say, Ghost Pimp. Pimp dies, becomes a ghost. What would he do? Now, 25 short stories in each book and across both series. On the last book, or actually last series, if you will, it's a novel series called I, Villain. What's it about? Well, imagine there was a superhero apocalypse. Over 99% of all heroes get wiped out. One of the people who helped make money doing it is this dude named Benjamin Clyde, gentleman fixer. As far as at first glance, he's just a guy with a burger gut and a really nice suit, but he has the best mercs in the world, handpicked. Either they're experts, they have really cool superpowers, or both. I mean, basically, a Legion of Doom is on his speed dial. He has used them for good, evil, both. His clients are on all sides of the law, and he's riding high until one night he is forced to give up his multi-billion-dollar empire, fire everybody, give up his cash, and fight crime in the superhuman crime capital of the world. He has to do it personally every night for the rest of his life. They're making spandex jokes as they're looking at that gut of his, but they don't know about his Black Ops past or his two superpowers, which he's trying not to ever use again. And guess what? He has to use them. And guess what? He thrives. And when he thrives, he starts a new business called I, Villain. Well, what's it do? Well, there aren't enough heroes running around, and there are villains trying to destroy or take over the world, and they're usually rich. So what if someone was to knock on their door, kill them all, and take whatever's not on fire? He nominates himself. Okay, I'm Marcus V. Calver. This is Tales Unlimited. See you tomorrow.